are in listen-only mode.
Okay, so I think we should start now, right?
Yes, Swamiji. Pranam, Swamiji.
All right. Namaste, everybody. In this session of the webinar, we have the theme, the mind-blowing question. This question is put by no other than Nachiketa in Kathopanishad. And as you know, the Kathopanishad is from Krishna Yajurveda. So let's start with that famous Shanti mantra of Krishna Yajurveda, Sahanavotu. Om Sahanavavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We had taken up the personality of Nachiketa in an earlier session of this webinar series. A young boy, probably 14 years old, full of viveka and vairagya. On one hand, like any human being, he was concerned with his family, especially his father, being at peace, there being no disharmony at home. On the other, there was deep inside him such rich spiritual samskaras, purva sanskaras, and that is how, after exhausting 2 boons out of the 3 that Lord Yama had offered him, in the 3rd boon, Nachiketa asks this mind-blowing question. In fact, to start with, he puts the question with some trepidation in a rather unclear way. He just says, they say when someone dies, something remains, and then others say nothing remains when someone dies. So it is a bit unclear there. However, a little later, Yama understands what Nachiketa wants, because there is no doubt about the soul. It is about what remains when even the conditioned soul, Jivatma, the transmigrating soul, packs up or is unwound or is resolved, whatever you may call it. Other than the body, there is this Sukshma Sharira, there is the soul which survives the body. That Nachiketa knows anyhow. Otherwise he would not take part in that yaga, yajna. For all these Vedic rituals have as a fundamental belief that there is the soul which lives beyond the period of this physical body. So Yama understands. He is not asking about that conditioned soul, Jivatma, Samsari Atma, going from one body to another, but he is asking that moment of death of the ego, that moment of enlightenment which some rare soul comes upon, where we not only rise above the physical body, we also rise above the Jivatma, the subtle body, the conditioned soul. In different ways we may describe it. So please note, leaving a body and then surviving, continuing to exist, going somewhere and taking another body, everybody does. In fact, everybody helplessly does that. The enlightened soul's unique achievement, if you may call it, is she or he also transcends that transmigratory samsari atma. They realize the unbounded and unbound, unlimited, unfettered, infinite atma. The soul, the atma that goes from one life to another is not infinite. And what is more, the soul that goes from one life to another carries the punya and papa. merit and sin of the previous life, of many previous lives. In enlightenment, there is a further leap, a notch above, and that is the realization of the infinite soul, Shuddha Atma. The word Atma is used on both levels. Therefore, you need to be very clear. Are we talking about the Jivatma, which is limited, or the Shuddha Atma, which enlightened souls realize, come to know as their true nature? Now, when Nachiketa asks to wind up the story quickly, Yama is 90% sure that Nachiketa is very keen on this boon. But there is a 10% doubt whether Nachiketa might settle for something else. So to test his vairagya and to test his total eagerness, there are a number of mantras in the Kathopanishad where Yama offers him a number of other possibilities. Give this up. This is not for you to ask. Instead, take some wealth, take various pleasures, take long life and all that. So he rejects all that, and when he rejects all those alternative offers, Yama is thrilled, and I must tell you, Yama right away, before even the mind-blowing question is asked in a second manner. You see, the third boon is in the form of a question. The third boon is a question on self-knowledge. But I am making it clear that this question on self-knowledge is first expressed as though it is about the ordinary transmigration, and then after a few mantras, some 15 mantras or so, same Nachiketa asks the question in a second way. He rephrases it, he rewords it, and that is where the mind-blowing flavor of the question becomes evident. So what happens between these two ways of putting the same question? That is where Yama on one hand tempts Nachiketa, and when Nachiketa doesn't budge, Yama praises him and says this is indeed great, and throws a few hints at the nature of the answer. Doesn't really answer, but all the same there are some powerful sentences where Yama gives hints to the unique nature of that transcendental truth. Anyhow, now let us plunge into the question itself. In the first chapter and second valli, Kathopanishad has two chapters and each chapter has three vallis. The first chapter, second valli, the mantra number 14 is where Nachiketa very specifically and with tremendous maturity of philosophical tools or language asks, and that is the question we are considering in this session. Anyatra dharmād, anyatra adharmād, anyatra asmāt, krita akritat, anyatra bhūtācca bhavyācca, yattat pashyasi tadvada. If you see something dharmād anyatra, adharmād anyatra, something that is untouched by right or wrong. Then again, kritat anyatra, akritat anyatra. Krita means effect, something that is made. Akrita in this context is cause. The cause and effect, in other words, the matter of causation. And in the third quarter of the mantra, anyatra bhutat bhavyat cha. Bhuta is atita, whatever is over, and bhavya is what is yet to happen. So the past, the future, and by force of context, the present. In other words, these divisions of time. Therefore, friends, there are just three things here, and each of these is mind-blowing. One is there something not touched by any concept of virtue or goodness, rightness? Who is right? Who is good? What is right? You and I live our life on this earth, and unless we travel a bit, unless we meet with people of different backgrounds, we believe that the way we have been raised, the way we eat, the way we wear clothes, the way we marry, the way we conduct family life, there's a whole set to which we have been conditioned. We imagine that is right. And anybody who does it the other way is wrong. If we have been worshipping idols, that is right. But from childhood, if we have not worshipped idols and suddenly we see somebody worshipping an idol, and they are again idol of a god with an elephant face, etc., it looks very weird. So is the case with food, vegetarianism, non-vegetarianism. Then there is veganism and many kinds of choice of food. And about relationships, about violence, about speaking truth or speaking lies. Because there are many who believe that in some special circumstances we have to tell lies. Spoken lie is not such a big error. There may be pressure of circumstances, they say. Some others don't believe it. So right and wrong are very dicey affair. And Nachiketa, the teenager, asks, is there something where this difficult issue doesn't come up at all? Beyond means that only. Beyond right and wrong means a certain truth, certain way of being, certain way of seeing, where we are not affected. We are not affected by either right or wrong. Same way, anyatra krita akritat. We are not affected by cause and effect. Otherwise, our intellect is constantly agitated on why did this happen? How did this happen? Or with regard to future, what should we do so that we may get such and such result? What is the cause to bring about an effect? And so on. And then, in a related manner, our mind is soaked in time, the past, the present, the future. We judge ourselves. How good I was, now I am not good. Or how poor I was in childhood, now I have made so much money. No, don't ask. How healthy I was, or how sick I was, and now how good I am. And about others also. This man, that lady, those people, this country, that community. All judgment takes place using the tool called time. Till yesterday he was okay. And the way he is behaving today, see, yesterday and today came. Past and present. I'm giving examples. Now, this is mind-blowing, for in ordinary life, in our usual life, there is nothing which is not touched by right and wrong, not touched by cause and effect, and not touched by past and future. This question, this reworded question of Nachiketa sends Lord Yama to raptures. In fact, he doesn't immediately answer. He says, what you are asking is something for the sake of which people perform austerities. What you are asking is that which all the Vedas praise. What you are asking, my dear boy, is that seeking which people take up brahmacharya and other very difficult vows. However, probably looking at Nachiketa's face in his eyes and understanding that Nachiketa has had enough of praise from me, of him, of his question, of his vairagya. Now he wants to know, is there something? And therefore, in the very next mantra, Lord Yama, in that mantra where if he first says, all Vedas talk about it, all people who do tapas seek this, people take up brahmacharya for knowledge of this truth you are asking, all that he says in a mantra, without going to the next mantra. In that very mantra, in the same breath as though he says, yes, that is the truth. And that is Om. He says that is Om. He begins with a name. Om is the truth. What you are asking for is Om. Now you may say, but what is Om? Yama goes on. Yama praises Om. Om is both the higher and the lower. Etadyevaksharam Brahma, etadyevaksharam Param, etadyevaksharam Jnatva, yo yadichhati tasya tat. Incidentally, let me make a quick 1 minute diversion. There's a lot of literature going around these days under the theme, the law of attraction. If your mind gets engaged with something intensely, if your deep driving desire, as Eknath Ishwaran also touches upon it, DDD, deep driving desire is towards something, without doing anything, that thing will come to you. It's called law of attraction. A semblance of that law of attraction is found in answer of Lord Yama, yo yadichhati tasya tat. If you desire something, that comes to you. Here, of course, the context is if you anchor yourself in Om, if you anchor yourself in the truth of which you have asked, that Nishta in this truth about which you have asked brings anything that you desire, just like that. We have always believed in our tradition that rishis and munis who are Brahmanishta, if they have a slight sankalpa, I want a big house, that big house happens. Next morning a rich man comes and says, whether you want or not, I am going to build a big house for you. The rishi will be smiling. How did this happen? Last evening a thought arose in my mind. How nice it would be if I were to have a big house, and here comes this rich man who wants to build a big house for me. Yo yadichhati tasya tat. Now, that is another topic. We can take that thing, law of attraction and the Upanishadic view of your desires getting fulfilled like magic. We can take that up separately. Now, let's take the first part. There are 3 dimensions, I said, to this mind-blowing question. Is there something untouched by right and wrong? In fact, in the mantra, about 2 mantras down, there is the famous line, which in fact gets echoed in Bhagavad Gita also. Those of you who are familiar with Gita would say, hey, we have heard this in Gita. Hanta chen manyate hantum, hatas chen manyate hatam, ubhau tau na vijanitaha, nayam hanti na hanyate. 90% of this mantra is repeated in chapter 2 of Gita. So, somebody thinks he is killing. Somebody thinks he is getting killed. Somebody thinks that he is the doer. Somebody thinks he is the object of a deed, an action. Now, I am taking a little liberty. Hidden here is the idea of doership. Just extend a little bit. Somebody thinks I did so much meritorious work today. That is dharma. Somebody else is depressed by evening. I don't know. I didn't want to tell a lie, but I ended up telling a dozen of them. I didn't want to hurt my husband, but I don't know. I got on his nerve today. Oh, I didn't want to disturb my parents. 100 ways, So, mind oscillates. I did a good thing, I did a bad thing. I said a good thing, I said a bad thing. I thought of a good thing, I thought of a bad thing. The mantra in the mouth of Yama says, Ubhau tauna vijanita. Those who put thought, word and deed in one of the two boxes, right and wrong, good and bad, dharma and adharma, na vijanita. They don't know at all. Thus, he says, the awareness. Now you may ask, all this is description, but what is that truth? Let me tell you, we are not avoiding the issue. That truth is your own nature, your own self-experience, self-perception when your ego dies. Go by Ramana Maharshi's Who Am I? And corner the sense of I. And if it doesn't make much sense to you, that's where Vedanta study helps. Vedanta shows to you the falsity of the I which you today are holding tight. Let that I get exposed as false. Then you will find that, neither good nor bad. I have neither done dharma nor done adharma. Dharma and adharma are a dream. They are a passage, gone. So, ubhautau na vijanitaha. Now the second dimension, causation. In the 18th mantra, this also is the basis of a very well-known shloka in Bhagavad Gita, again chapter 2. The Upanishad mantra goes like this. Na jayate mriyate va vipaschit nayam kutaschinna babhuva kaschit ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire. We are not going to take up every word, but let me highlight Nayam Kutaschit. This did not come from anywhere. Kutaschit means from somewhere. Suppose I want to ask you, where did you come from? Delhi or Bombay, New York or San Francisco? In Sanskrit I ask, Kutaha agataha asi? Or if you are a lady, Kutaha agata asi? Kutaha means from where? Kutaschit means from somewhere. And Yama says, the truth of our existence, not the ego. The ego has come from somewhere, or the personality has come from somewhere. If somebody asks me in Solan, Himachal Pradesh, where are you from? I say, I am from South India, Karnataka, to be specific. They often ask me here, Aap kahan se? And when I tell, then looking at my dress, they ask me typically a question. Do you know Jyotisham? Here there is a lot of interest in Jyotish. And when I say I don't know Jyotish, I can teach Vedanta, they don't show any interest. They immediately turn their face away. So that is 99% of the world anyhow. So, Kutaha means from where. Kutaschit means from somewhere. Na kutaschit and na babhuva kaschit. This did not come from somewhere and nothing came from this either. So when you say this did not come from somewhere, it means it is not the effect. And nothing came from this truth, means this is not the cause. From this nothing arises. If something were to arise from this is the cause. For example, clay is the cause and a pot comes from clay. And pot is the effect because pot is that which comes, that is effect. That from which it comes, the clay, is the cause. So Yama affirmatively answers this question. There is this truth where there is no cause and no effect. And lastly, the third dimension, beyond past and future. One goes a little down, though this answer can be elicited or drawn from a couple of mantras before too, but I am taking you to the third valli. There is a very famous mantra. This mantra again is reworded in many other scriptures. There is a beautiful hymn to Swami Tapovanam and it has 6 verses. Therefore it is called Tapovana Shatkam, not Shatakam. And in Tapovana Shatkam, this mantra is reworded. Anyway, let me read the Upanishad mantra for you. Ashabdamasparshamaroopamavyayam तथा रसं नित्यमगन्धवच्च यत् अनादि अनन्तं महतः परं ध्रुवं निचाय तन्मृत्युमुखात् प्रमुच्यते. Third Valli, 15th mantra. That is 1.3.15. 1 is chapter 1, 3 is Valli 3, 15 is mantra 15. 1.3.15. And what I highlight here is Anadi Anantam. This has no beginning, it has no end. Beginning and end are typically the sign of time. Because beginning means when did it begin? End means when is it going to end? So it is all about when. When is a matter of time, where is a matter of space. Anadyanantam. So this awareness principle is Anadyanantam, untouched by time. Anyatra bhutacha bhavyacha. Now, having touched upon the words, the Sanskrit expressions in the Upanishad proper, let's spend a couple of minutes on the real significance of this mind-blowing question. The question, who am I? Naan yaru, main kaun hu, naan yaar, and so many languages you may put it. The question, who am I, is itself a mind-blowing question, and all the significance is contained in it. Nachiketa's question is mind-blowing because it takes us out of the box. Usually, we operate through the ego. Please don't think that this is some high spirituality and this has nothing to do with our real life. In fact, when you experience in your heart unconditional love for a child, for your spouse, for a neighbor, for somebody in trouble, somebody need not be in trouble for you to experience love for him or her. When there is unconditional love, Nachiketa's question is answered by you. Because when you experience love with no reason, then no causation. And when you experience love, your mind doesn't calculate when did it begin and how long will it go. Time is turned off there. And in that intense love, right and wrong also. In stupid love also right and wrong go away. There is the old saying, right? All is fair in love and war. In love, that is romantic love, and war. All is fair in love and war. That has a validity on a different plane. But we are talking of the saintly love, which is, as we elsewhere we call it, ahetuka daya, ahetuka prema. It is love which knows no reason at all, doesn't expect anything in return. So call it love, call it an appreciation of great beauty. Therefore, somebody like J. Krishnamurti would often ask us, did you notice the sunrise? Can you see the sky with all attention? Because where there is all attention, the ego subsides. When there is inattention, you are seeing the sky, meanwhile you are wondering whether you will get back the money that somebody had said would give you this evening. Thought. If he gives me the money, that will make me a little more secure. Otherwise, so I am insecure. If I get this money or that praise, that award, that position, I, me, my, this is the operation of thought. Well, it has its place in daily life, but the problem with you and me is this. I, me and my, the ego, is holding us hostage 24/7. Half of you are listening to this from India, half from abroad, US, etc. In India, today's date is interesting. It is 24/7 today. In America, you say 7/24. Here we say 24/7, and today there was a joke that if you had ever told your wife or somebody, I will love you 24/7, just love her today or love him today, because today is 24/7. Today, July 24, is 24/7. Now, coming back from the joke to the serious matter, this ego or egoism is holding us in its clutches 24/7. Not July 24, 24 hours and 7 days. That, as you know, is the other meaning. 24 hours, 7 days, then 365 days, year after year. The ego is all the time holding us. So mystics and seers like Krishnamurti try to shake us. For a moment, see the sunrise with all your attention. If your spouse is angry with you, look at his or her face with all attention. This attention is not to be directed only to matters of beauty, sunrise and a blue sky and a smiling child and so on. Even in ugliness, even when somebody is very angry with you, watch with all attention. Even a snake comes before you. You are taking a walk through a wooded area and suddenly a snake comes by and the snake raises its hood. You are just 2 feet away from the snake. You are to look at it with all attention. Not easy, but that is the challenge. When there is attention, you go beyond right and wrong. You go beyond cause and effect. You go beyond time. You experience yourself as a boundless reality. Therefore, Vedanta, study of Vedanta, sadhana, Vama inquiry, japa, tapa, all of them are meant for this. But never imagine that all that is another compartment. It has not much to do with the real life. What you appreciate in a satsanga, in a lecture, in a webinar, may not be with you, may not stay with you generally, I understand. But if you are intense, if you pay proper attention to what is being said, then it remains with you. Something stays with you and it makes a difference in the way you deal with life's situations. Therefore, this is practical. Theory and practice do not have any gap as there is increased clarity. Lesser the clarity, more is the need for us to practice various things. We studied Vedanta for half an hour, then we say, now I better do some japa. Now I better do some pranayama. Now I better recite Vishnu Sahasranama. Now I better do puja with Shiva Ashtottara, etc., etc. I should do, and that study is over. That half an hour, I read. Today I read. Today I read Kathopanishad. That's over. Now it's puja time. In this way we divide. In this way we compartmentalize life. Well, even after gaining all clarity, you may do puja, you will do puja if you love it, you enjoy it. That's not an issue. But the state of awareness, your state of being, your state of perception changes. There is a natural relaxation. Nowadays there is so much talk about relaxation exercise. And there are some people who sit, okay, I want to relax. And then their mind says, how much time should I sit like this? I have many things to do. This art of relaxation is taxing. So they are not ready for that relaxation exercise also. Well, everybody has to find out their ways. But what we are now dealing with is what they call Jnana Marga, the path of wisdom. And in the path of wisdom, right study with guidance from a competent teacher sets in motion a different way of thinking, a different way of seeing. Just as even as you are watching the television, even as you are enjoying, now in a couple of days I guess the Rio de Janeiro Olympics starts. So even as you are watching the swimming race or other athletics, you are enjoying, you know that this is television screen. Nobody is swimming here in my house over there. Isn't it? You have clear understanding. Right? Very similarly, if a proper study of the Vedanta gives you the ability, even when you lose lot of money, you know money is gone, but the clarity makes you see that, well, on a deeper level, nothing has happened to me. So people come to console you that you lost some money, you lost a near and dear one, whatever. But if you are well established in the Vedantic clarity, Vedantic insight, then audio video stopped. But here it is working. Can somebody hear me? Hello? Yeah. I didn't know. When did it stop? When did the audio video stop? Can you hear me?